Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Globe Observer Connection, Conversation, Celebration, or GO-C3. I am Holly Cole, the Globe Observer Coordinator. I and the Globe Observer team are delighted to welcome you to our first event for volunteers who participate in the Globe program through Globe Observer. We are joined today by participants from North and South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia. You represent the diversity in the more than 230,000 people who volunteer through Globe Observer around the world. We are grateful for your participation. As the name of our event suggests, our goals for today are to connect with you and to facilitate connections among our volunteers. We will do that through conversations and ultimately by celebrating all that you bring to the Globe program. Throughout the event, you will meet other volunteers and members of the Globe Observer team. After I finish, we will kick off the event with an interactive trivia session. Get ready to show off your hard-earned Globe skills. Following the trivia, we will meet a panel of Globe volunteers. Then you will have time to talk to other volunteers in small groups. After the conversation, we will have a short break, then reconvene to hear from Marilei Colon Robles, Rusty Lowe, Peter Nelson, and Brian Campbell about how your Globe observations have been used in scientific research. Following their presentation, we will have an open question session. If you haven't submitted your questions by email yet, please feel free to message me in the chat. We will answer as many questions as we can, and we will post our responses on the Globe Observer website after the event. GO-C3 will conclude with a showcase of your observations and a short exit survey. We would appreciate your feedback so that we can make future events even better. All sessions will be recorded except for the conversations. We will share the recordings on our website after the event. By logging into GO-C3, you agree to abide by our code of conduct. In essence, please treat all participants with respect. We will remove anyone who breaks the code of conduct. If you have any problems during the event, please contact Heather Mortimer by private message using the Zoom chat function or by email. We will keep breakout room 1 open throughout the event if you need to take a break from the meeting without logging off. The room will be moderated as a safe space. Since the Globe Observer app launched in 2016, this volunteer community has grown to include nearly 235,000 volunteers in more than 120 countries. We have received observations through Globe Observer from every continent, including Antarctica, and some from volunteers on ships in the world's oceans. We now have more than 700,000 observations submitted through Globe Observer and distributed through a free and open database available to scientists, students, and communities worldwide. You have submitted more than 600,000 cloud observations, identified more than 33,000 mosquito habitats, mapped 25,000 land cover sites, and estimated 47,000 tree heights. As you'll see later in this event, your observations contributed to scientific research, resulting in 14 peer-reviewed scientific publications, all of which you can access on the Globe Observer website. Since your data are available to everyone, it is available to students who have used it in Globe student research projects, and it is available to you to use in your own community. So thank you.
Yeah. This opportunity, Tony Murphy is the director of the Globe Implementation Office, and he is actually going to be giving you a little brief history of the Globe program and how these wonderful citizen science activities that we're all here for today fit in with this larger 27-year history of the program. And then I'll provide a brief perspective from NASA. My name is Allison Leidner, and I'm the Globe Program Manager. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Tony, and then he'll turn it back over to me.
Great, thank you, Allison. And as Allison said, my name is Tony Murphy. I'm the director of the Globe Implementation Office. And on behalf of the Globe program, I'm thrilled to welcome you to this exciting inaugural Globe Citizen Science meeting. GLOBE stands for Global Learning and Observations to Benefit the Environment. It was established in 1994 and launched in 1995. It's an international science and education program that engages students in the US and in 125 additional countries around the world in making scientific measurements to understand the world around us. Through GLOBE, trained and certified educators can observe Earth's air, water, soil, and life using more than 50 scientific protocols. The program started with a focus on working with teachers in formal and informal education settings and provides a great deal of support to teachers so that they can use GLOBE in elementary through undergraduate classrooms as a way to teach about environmental science and support student research. If you'd like to learn more about GLOBE for educators, you can reach us through the community support team by using the following email address. It is globehelp, all one word, at ucar.edu. In 2016, GLOBE released the GLOBE Observer app to expand access to the GLOBE program. Through GLOBE Observer, anyone in a GLOBE country can participate in data collection by downloading the GLOBE Observer app, taking in-app training, and observing through the app's 4 in-app protocols: clouds, mosquito habitat mapper, land cover, and trees. These protocols are designed to allow you to participate in GLOBE without additional equipment beyond your phone or additional certification. We are thrilled to welcome the new community that developed around the GLOBE Observer app to the GLOBE family. Thank you. Allison?
Thank you, Tony, for that overview of the GLOBE program. And what I want to do now is welcome you from NASA. So welcome to NASA's Earth Science and Citizen Science community. As Tony mentioned, GLOBE is sponsored by NASA, but it's also supported by the National Science Foundation, NOAA, and the U.S. Department of State. And I serve as the NASA GLOBE Program Manager with purview over the entire program, working very closely with many other NASA colleagues to help make GLOBE happen. Science is a global endeavor, and we very much appreciate your enthusiasm and dedication to making cloud, tree height, land cover, and mosquito habitat observations through the GLOBE Observer app. We're all very proud sponsors of this GLOBE program, and we're thrilled to see the use of GLOBE to advance the understanding of what, in my biased opinion, is our most important planet, Earth, and to help enable students and citizen scientists to participate in the scientific process. So I'm very much looking forward to hearing about your activities, and I hope that you all enjoy the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison and Tony. So as the name of this event suggests, our goals today are to connect with you and to facilitate connections among our volunteers. We'll do that through conversations and ultimately by celebrating all of you and all that you bring to the GLOBE program. So here's a quick overview of today. We're already a bit behind schedule because of technical difficulties, but we'll try to catch up. So we're going to go into a trivia game to kind of get us warmed up. Then we're going to meet some of the GLOBE observers, and that will be moderated by Kristen. We'll have a quick break, and then we'll share some science results from your submissions and hear from some of the subject matter experts. And then we'll showcase some of your observations and have a quick exit survey. So we'll keep going here. Before we dive in, though, a quick code of conduct review. So by logging into GoC3, you agree to abide by our code of conduct, treat all participants with respect. We will remove anyone who breaks the code of conduct. If you have any problems, please contact the other Heather, the Heather Mortimer, by private message in the Zoom chat or by email. So we'll keep breakout room 1 open when we have breakout rooms throughout the event if you need to take a break from the meeting. And that will be moderated via safe.
So these are just some statistics, some of the, the amazing number of volunteers that we have, over 235,000 volunteers in over 120 GLOBE countries. We've had observations from so many places, including Antarctica and ocean observations. And if you, if you ever wanted to see those observations, you can always go to viz.globe.gov and look at all of those observations, including the ones aboard ship. And you can see there, we've got over 600,000 clouds observations. And we're I think maybe 12 or 1,300 matches away from our million satellite matches. So we're so close to that. But then 33,000 mosquito habitat observations, 25,000 land cover observations, 47,000 tree height measurements taken. You can see 14 peer-reviewed scientific publications, which you're going to hear more about a little bit later from our science leads. But it's just, I mean, this is a tribute to all of what we can do collectively. And so we are celebrating you. We appreciate you all coming at sometimes odd hours of the night and putting up with some of our technical challenges to stick around with us. But this is about you and all that you contribute and help us do. So we so appreciate that.
All right, with that, we're gonna dive into some trivia. So we have a trivia game set up with Mentimeter. Some of you may have heard of that before, some of you might be brand new. If you have a smartphone, that's a great way to get on there. So take a picture of the QR code on the screen and that will get you into our quiz trivia site. If you don't have a smartphone, you can go to this link up here. I'll post it in the chat. You can also type in menti.com into your browser and use the code there to get in. And we'll dive into the trivia game in just a second here. I'll give everybody a moment to take a picture of that QR code or type that into your browser. If you can't get your phone working or can't get it working on your browser, you can just respond in the chat too to play along. But it's kind of fun to get into the browser so we can keep track of people's points. You can kind of see how you did amongst everybody else and make it a friendly competition. So all the questions are related to NASA Globe things and the different protocols that you collect data for. All right, let's get started. We got a ton of people, great, 57 responses. So this is all of your avatars here. So you can go to menti.com and use that code 81153936. You can click that link I put in the chat, or you can go back to that QR code if you need it. Yep, that's the code, thank you. I'll give it another minute here, get everybody on. There's some fun avatars, I like it. All right, and just wait a minute and we'll get this quiz started when you get your avatar up. There we go. All right, if you can't get it working on your phone, or you can also do this in the browser, you can just respond to things in the chat. That's totally fine too. All right, let's get started. And you can join throughout any of the questions in the quiz if you're having trouble, but let's get going. All right. So first question, NASA studies, ... Does NASA study the origin of the universe, potential life on other planets, astronaut health in space, the science of climate change, of Earth systems, or all of those? You got 18 more seconds to respond. What does NASA study? So on your phone screen, you should have this question and the list of choices you can select. You can click on the choice. And then in 4 seconds, it will show all the responses. All right, nice, 68 of you got it correct, good job. So NASA does study all of these things. GLOBE in particular helps NASA study the science of climate change in Earth systems. GLOBE really focuses on the Earth science and the Earth systems aspect of what NASA studies. And NASA does study all planets, even the one that we live on, right? All right, next, we'll give it a second to load here. What type of sky cover is in this photo? So you should be seeing a photo of this building, an interesting looking sky behind it. So is it clear? Is it obscured sky showing smoke? Is it overcast, or is it scattered clouds? So if you do the cloud protocol, you should be able to get this one right. You got 15 more seconds to respond. And if you're having trouble using the app or on your browser, you're more than welcome to just type it in the chat too. All right, 3, 2, 1. Obscured sky. Yes, most of you got that one right. So this photo is showing some smoke. I believe this was from the California fires from a couple of years ago. So obscured sky is when something is blocking your view of the sky. This could be smoke, it could be dust. So in this particular picture, it is smoke. So it's really important to capture smoke from satellites, which the satellites can capture smoke, but also from the ground, because sometimes you don't know exactly where the smoke plume is coming from or what the smoke is really looking at from the ground. So capturing obscured sky like smoke in the Globe Observer app is really important for the scientists who are studying that to kind of see what's happening at ground level. All right, let's go to the next question. Second to load up here. So the mosquitoes question, both male and female mosquitoes bite and can potentially transmit disease. Is this true, false, or you don't know? Got 20 more seconds to answer here. All right, time's up. Oh, yeah, thank you. So only female mosquitoes bite people and animals because they want to get the blood. They use the blood for feeding their eggs and producing eggs. And since they're using blood for food, they can also carry vector-borne diseases, and that's how you can get infected by a vector-borne mosquito. And Autumn just said that one tried to bite me too. So that was a female mosquito that tried to bite you. So the ladies are biting you, not the male mosquitoes. All right. Let's move on here. There we go. Next question. Let it load here. Satellites can they be used to get a snapshot of what the Earth is like now, study the way the Earth changes over time, learn about other planets, or all of the above? So what can satellites do? 12 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, time's up. All right. All of the above. Yep, satellites can do all those things. Satellites give us a top-down view of what the Earth is like and what other planets are like. But particularly when we're thinking about Globe Observer, we're thinking about what satellites are doing for the Earth. And then your Globe Observer observations give you a bottoms-up view to complement the view from the sky of what's going on Earth. Right, I believe this is the last question, so we haven't gotten many right. Now, trees can help reduce the effects of climate change. True, false, or I don't know. $20 more seconds to respond, and then we'll see how you did. Who's the winner? Five more seconds, and this is our last question. All right, time's up. True, yes, trees can help reduce the effects of climate change. So as trees grow, they help stop climate change by removing carbon dioxide from the air, storing the carbon in the trees and in their roots in the soil, and then releasing oxygen into the atmosphere. So that's how trees are really beneficial to reducing the effects of climate change. All right, let's see how you all did. So this is our top leaderboard. I know there's many more of you that responded, but this is just the folks who got them all right. So it's a tie. Good job, everyone. Good job. Elsa, Autumn, Dario, Teresa, Spot, Simba. I like Simba, you are the lion. All right, let's go back to the presentation here. Okay. Can you all see the slides again for the presentation? Give me a thumbs up.
Yes.
Great, thank you. So next, we're going to have the volunteer panel. Kristen, do you want to introduce that? And I'll start playing the video when you're ready.
Yeah, so What we have up next is a number of your fellow Globe Observer volunteers who are here to talk to you about why they do Globe Observer and some of the things that excites them about it. So you can see the list. We don't have everybody here. These are the people that are in the video. We've got a couple of folks that are listed here, but are not necessarily, we're never necessarily able to make it this evening, this morning, today. So you can see we've got a variety from all over the world ready. So while we're getting while Heather is playing the video, if my panelists can make sure you're getting your video started, and maybe everybody else turn off your videos so that the video is 10-11 minutes long, and then we'll have a little bit of discussion after that, and we may shorten it a bit just to try to get back on time. So maybe instead of 20 minutes, we'll do 10 or 12 minutes of conversation afterwards. And I would also like to say that Allison Swan, who is listed here and is in the video, is actually also our wonderful intern this summer and actually put together this video with all of these volunteers. So this is her excellent work you're about to see.
I participate in Globe for a lot of reasons. I think I was first attracted to it because I'm a geocacher and it has a lot of similar elements. Being outside, maps, technology, but then it's even more than that because it's also NASA, it's citizen science, and I really love that I feel part of a larger community.
Yeah, it seemed fascinating. I always like to contribute where I can, and it just seemed interesting.
I'm passionate about research and I believe combining science and technology can serve the world on a different level.
In education department, I took interest in observing weather and nature.
I just think it's wonderful to be tracking climate change.
Citizen science has always been a prominent part of my life, and my science education through Girl Scouts, where connecting with our community and environment was a principle.
Program is the international program of NASA. This program is very useful for society.
Although I don't work in science, I'm always interested in it, and that's why I thought this would be a great way to participate.
The NASA Globe Observer app and the Globe program itself gives you the opportunity to record your local observations, and when this data is viewed at global level, we will get a dynamic picture of what's happening around the world in a real format.
Globe Observer is so important to supporting environmental justice because it helps us get a more in-depth representation of communities of color that usually don't.
I use NASA Globe Observer app for Himalayan remote region observations and studying the ecosystems at the high altitude region while being on my Himalayan expeditions in Ladakh, India last year.
I have been able to learn how to collaborate and submit data to the NASA using the Globe application observers through various protocols such as atmosphere data protocols, clouds, land cover, mosquito habitat mapper, and trees.
Both protocols are very useful to get more observations.
Cloud protocol enables us to take pictures of cloud banks, record the skill coordinates, and submit data to NASA.
The clouds, I love the clouds. That was my first thing that caught me, and I guess probably what I report on the most.
I use the clouds most often.
I tend to use mostly the clouds protocol and the land cover protocol, which are similar but very different. I mean, clouds are fleeting from one minute to the next, they're changing. And land cover changes as well, but it's more in an evolution.
I absolutely love clouds, and since I was a kid, we always used to lie on our backs in the sand or in the grass and just watch the cloud formation. So I knew the names of some of them, but finding out, how far away they are, the upper clouds and all of that is really interesting.
Clouds are also a main aspect to get natural observation. On the earth, clouds are very important to get more details about weather and climate change.
I was intrigued by the Terminator problem, making cloud observations first thing in the morning or right before sunset, so that my pictures can be compared to the pictures that the satellites are seeing, mine looking up and the satellites looking down.
I also do like the trees, and it's fascinating for me to be able to find the heights of trees.
Our research teacher helped us to integrate the protocols and as well as its factors and how it affects the human health, such as mosquitoes, which dengue is one of the leading diseases here in a tropical country like the Philippine ones, and that have been a problem since then. And we had developed a research that integrating and connecting the impacts of science of mosquitoes to mitigating and to the community and as well as the government.
Incorporate the soil moisture active and passive protocol to the land cover protocols in order to be able to determine soil characterization, soil texture, and soil colors, and so on.
This protocols has been significant back then as it teaches us how to use and how to obtain measurements.
Being able to take observations like clouds that can document air pollution, or land cover that can see the destruction of green areas over time, or mosquito habitat mapper that can eliminate habitats carrying harmful diseases, can help the fight to make these communities less vulnerable to climate and health risks.
The reason for using this Globe Observer app is that it is well integrated with our smartphones and precisely locates our location coordinates and altitude levels. And you can collect your observations offline and send it back to the globe later whenever you are with your internet connections.
I have over 40 years of information technology experience in healthcare, and so I've seen technology progress. But I'm really impressed with the development team and the design, that they make it so simple to use by using a lot of the accessories that are already on the phone, like the accelerometer, or it knows my location.
Whenever I travel, I use the NASA Globe Observer app and the Globe protocol to understand weather, cloud and biosphere changes. If I come across any unusual observations, I collect the data and upload it to the Globe Observer.
Students, scientists are also interested in this program.
The GLOBE program had made me involved to research, and back then I was not interested in making research, and right now because of the GLOBE program and how big the program is and how the connections that I had been making in other countries have been making me to choose my careers in pursuing environmental sciences and health sciences.
These data are incredibly useful to perform the scientific analysis of that specific region, and the insights we get from them are so precise that one can widely use them in research paper and presentations at school or college to show changes of a particular region changing in time.
I was really excited when the team reached out to me to be a co-author on a scientific paper. I mean, I know what it means to do citizen science, and I know that what I'm contributing is for the larger scientific community, but I never really thought that I would be an author on a paper.
Recently, I had presented it to a local university and to our community about the effects of air pollution and meteorological conditions. It really is that these protocols may seem so science and may seem so nerd that students can only use it, or the scientists ones that have so much knowledge about it. But then it has a great significance or impact in our environment, in our local community, and presenting these data has been a great help to improve or to lessen the problems that we are having.
But we impacted us positively through broadening our horizon on agriculture. We also give a deep thought of scientific methods of preparing long-lasting solutions to agricultural problems in Lagos State, Nigeria. With the knowledge of SNAP and GPM protocol, rainy season suitable for planting through remote sensing have been achieved, as well as being able to determine the suitable soil pH and soil type for a specified and species.
When I look at the globe's data, I'm always interested to see changes in the specific locations that globe has recorded for previous years.
I live in Bozeman and there's a lot of development going on here. So there's a park where I was taking a lot of my globe observations because I would go there on a walk almost every day, especially during COVID. And this area has slowly been developed. It's actually becoming a parking lot. So personally, I have been able to watch as this changes from open natural land to a parking lot. And I've taken a lot of observations at that same spot over time. And I think I would not have noticed it as much, and I certainly would not have gone back to the same spot if I had not been recording it for Globe Observer.
I've tried to get different people involved in using the app because I just think it's so fantastic.
I tell everybody, basically all my friends, all my family, that they should use Globe Observer.
It is now more important than ever to engage in Earth and environmental observations and give yourself the chance to help create a more sustainable future for our planet.
Since getting involved and perhaps influence other people, I have been able to positively impact pleasant farmers in the use of SMAP as well as global application protocols to study the environment and soil types. Encourage them to make use of protocols such as mosquito habitat mapper, land cover, clouds and data and atmosphere data entry so as to have a broad-based knowledge of the environment of life.
We all rely on Earth's resources. We must start understanding our environment and the changing atmosphere and ensure a local to global approach of observation.
I have definitely noticed things differently since using Globe Observer.
Let us work together to combat climate change, stabilize the global climate, study the changing environment, and also secure our children's future.
Okay, so if you want to maybe stop sharing your screen, and I think I have pinned all of the panelists that I could see. If Suzanne Kaiser is here, maybe she can raise her hand. But first of all, let's round of applause for Allison and all the people who contributed videos there. So we have on our panel here, we have Yashraj Patil from India, Susie Taylor from Montana, Allison Swan from the US, from Maryland, Josiah Diosanta from the Philippines, Nojim Sani from Nigeria, and I believe the one who's Holly Cole, is that you, Om Prakash? I believe that's Om Prakash from what I saw of his video earlier, I think. But so is there, and I guess if it pins, it just pins for me. Is there not a way? I thought there was a way. Is there a way, Cassie, to pin everybody, pin these for every spotlight for everybody? Ooh. That's really what I want to do. I want a spotlight for everybody, don't I?
Kristen, and while you're doing that, there is a lot of kudos in the chat regarding this video, and everyone wants a copy of the video and how to access it afterwards. And thank you to everyone for sharing their great stories.
Yeah, no, I think it was really wonderful to hear from everybody. I'm not, if others can help, other hosts can help me make sure I'm spotlighting for everybody. I guess that's not pinning. I had pinned everybody, but it's a different sort of thing. So let's start with the first, just for whoever wants to answer first. How did you first learn about Globe? Was there something in particular that attracted you about using Globe Observer in general, or a particular tool in the app specifically? And who wants to start with that one? Maybe I'll pick on Allison. Do you want to tell us, like, maybe expand a little bit about what you talked about in the video about Girl Scouts?
Yeah, so Globe has been a really huge part of my science education from when I was younger through Girl Scouts. We were always out in nature and exploring our environment, trying to learn more about it, doing all of the Globe protocols. But in particular, what made me really attracted to the app was having the tools to be able to be a citizen scientist right at my fingertips whenever I had the chance. So it was being able to take all of that love and engaging activities that I did when I was a kid doing Girl Scouts, and to be able to continue that now when I'm older using Globe Observer.
Anyone else want to add anything? I guess I could add myself to the spotlight since I'm talking too.
Yes, Christine.
What about? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Yashraj. Yeah.
So starting in 2019, like I was looking for a way to get engaged in an environmental science and earth science initiative when I discovered the GLOBE program on NASA's website under NASA Solve section. So I was really passionate about science, and indeed the GLOBE Observer app is too unique and a great tool to collect the surrounding observations. And I especially like the way it captures the cloud cover, land cover, tree height, and mosquito habitat details. Like these all high-level tools right in one app embedded is something like a great application development as part of being a software engineer also. And also the NASA's Earth observation satellites overpassing timings were linked into the app, and based on our position, the app tells us about the satellite overpass, which is thrilling when collecting the observations, because you are aware of the satellites are over you in the space, and you are collecting the observations and excited to get the result about the match and those things. Yeah.
Yeah, so many connections, aren't there? Yeah, that's great to hear. And Mr. Sani, we saw your students. We didn't get to see you in the video. We saw your students. What would you like to add?
I'm very glad to add mine to it, because I know that using the GLOBE protocols go a long way in solving agricultural problems in Nigeria, here in Lagos State, Nigeria, particularly using GPM mission. I learned of this GPM mission from Dorian, and it was pretty impressive. I love that. You see, the Global Presentation Mission, or the GPM, provides the next generation of rainfall measurements from space. This mission is designed to tap into the observational power of 9 independent satellites flying around the Earth, and we're able to harness the knowledge behind it. We'll leverage that on the use of Globe Observer application, and we are able to plant a lot of crops. And using this Globe precision measurement, we're able to get rainfall and other things. Otherwise, we have been planting otherwise, and we have been having a very poor yield. But the moment I introduce the students to this knowledge, we have a larger yield of this, and I wish and I pray of getting this down to farmers in Lagos State, Nigeria. Thank you.
Well, and you could see in the video how much they had learned, how much they had learned from what you've done with them. Was that, Josiah, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, of course, the GLOBE observation and all the protocols has been significant, of course. And before I started, I was interested back then, but because of how data can be helpful as well as be challenging, as the application has a lot of things that you can do that seems fun. At the same time, you can be significant when it comes to contributing data, and you can also integrate it in doing research. And that's why it has been my interest since when I'm doing my research subject back then in integrating GLOBE program to other environmental and health effects.
Well, and you mentioned in the video that it influenced what you want to study and what you want to do in the future, which I think is just wonderful. Susie, anything in particular you'd like to add about, kind of what first attracted you to you? I mean, you talked a little bit about it in the video, but I don't know if there's anything that you'd like to add to that.
Yeah, well, I will add, I had mentioned in the video that I live in Bozeman. There's a lot of development going on here, and I've gone to the specific place time and time again. But the other way I like to use GLOBE is to go places that nobody's ever been before. We have a lot of wilderness. I love to go backpacking and hiking and camping. So I love going places and saying, I bet nobody's ever done a GLOBE observation from here. And just that map-based aspect of it, and thinking I'm out here in the middle of nowhere and I'm doing science.
Yeah, that is fun, isn't it? That you can, I mean, we carry around these powerful things. Oh, you can't really see my phone. These these powerful computers in our pocket that can do so much. And I see we have Suzanne Kaiser here. So thank you. Welcome, Suzanne. Who was it? Was that Mr. Sani? Was that you wanting to add something?
Yes, using the GPM data for water resources, agricultural forecasting, and food security here in Lagos State, we have used that GPM in bringing out more resourceful food production on our table here in Nigeria, Lagos State. And I hope that we can be able to leverage on that more in Lagos State so that people could see the strength behind it.
Great. Suzanne, I know you just got here, but we were just kind of talking about what first attracted you about Globe, when you first learned about it, and what about Globe Observer. I mean, I think you mentioned the clouds in your video, I know, and as you know, as a kid looking up at the sky, is there anything in particular you'd like to add to what you had in the video? Hopefully you can unmute. We can see the side of you there. Suzanne is coming from Hawaii, so we've got, yet another time zone added in here.
Kristen, she said in the comments she has no audio. Oh.
I think we could hear you. Try again. Maybe she can't. Maybe somebody can find the phone number and send that to her. It looks like Autumn has that in the chat. Let's go ahead and move on. If there's anything, anything really new and surprising that you've observed while going out and doing globe observations, or a way that you've seen the environment in a new way because of doing globe observations? I think Susie mentioned a little bit about making the observations about like the construction and the change over time. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that.
Yeah. Sure, I can share something. Actually, this just happened today, which I think is pretty relevant. I said in the video that I tell all my friends and family and basically anybody who will listen that they should use Globe Observer. So a colleague of mine was saying how her teenage son is really interested in STEM, but it's very self-focused, and she wanted him to be more involved in STEM that helps others. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you should look at Globe Observer. She quick pulled it up on her phone, and she's like, oh my gosh, there's a mosquito habitat protocol. We are totally into that. So like right there was a convert, and she was gonna go home and share it with her son so he can be involved in STEM that is helping other people, which is pretty cool.
That's great. Yeah, the idea of it's a way of looking outward at the world and contributing to something bigger, as we saw all those numbers that we saw about how much data is being collected, and what we'll hear about shortly about what the data is being used for. Anybody else, like things that you've seen in a different way, or enter your meeting ID followed by pound. I'm gonna mute Suzanne. I think she's calling in on the phone. Or even something about, what motivates you to keep doing observations.
Yes, Kristen, I would like to add.
Go ahead, Yashraj. Yeah.
Yeah, I became more aware of changing the environment and its impact on the ecosystem. And it made me more responsible for looking after surroundings and monitoring any significant changes in the environment that may indicate a threat to this species. And the Globe encouraged me to perform the in-depth research on critical challenges. Thus, I decided to do like my MTech research with using the Globe protocols for the biodiversity research and analysis of the Indian Western Ghats using the artificial intelligence and space-based data analysis that actually helps my the IT skills embed into these unique earth science observations, and I will be implementing this NASA's Globe protocol on each of my investigation for more ground-based data insights as my MTech research project at the Symbiosis Institute of Technology in Pune, India.
Yeah, that's really excellent. And Yashraj made a really interesting story map about some of what he did, the work you did up in Ladakh that maybe Dorian has the link for that she can share in the chat. Suzanne, is that 808 number you? Maybe, just so she could get a. Anybody else? I think we probably, I know this is a little shorter than we intended, but since we're running a little bit behind because of our technical difficulties, but anybody else have anything they would like to add? Just anything that inspires you or tips, something you'd like to tell? I know we have some people who registered for this that are fairly new observers for using the Globe Observer app. Particular things, Josiah, go ahead.
To keep him being interested with the application, and you need to be able to find you don't need to be to favor science at all. You just need to be curious, because the fact that there is a lot of situations that happens around us, and that's what we are that's what drives us to get more data. And because data is so help data the data save lives, so that's why keep going on, keep being inspired and interested in connect with other people, and of course find the group that has the same interest with you, like this ones, because this will really inspire and to force you out of your comfort zone to do more observations, as well as doing a lot of researches that can be more interested than the ones that you're doing. And you can just integrate or collaborate with some, and that's what keeps me inspiring in doing data.
Yeah, curiosity and exploring, and yeah, that's wonderful. Anyone else? Last call, and then I think we'll wrap up and move on to the next segment. Allison, go ahead.
Yeah, to add on to that, using the app has really opened my eyes to how my community and environment has changed when I was younger doing the GLOW protocols to taking observations in the same areas now. And it's really interesting to see how each of the protocols in the app has a unique purpose that goes so far beyond like just taking a picture of the clouds. It's how the data can really be used to affect all these communities, like using the cloud protocols to see how air pollution changes in different neighborhoods, or land cover to see the destruction of natural green areas. So I think the tips for the new user for me would to be just to really use the app to look at your environment, look at your community, and use it to kind of create changes, use it to see how you can help areas around you.
And the idea, yeah, that a basic observation, a location, some photos, maybe a little bit of classification information can be used for a lot of different purposes. I think that's really important. Suzanne, have you been able to unmute by chance?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes, excellent. Yes, yeah. Go ahead. What would you like to add, Suzanne? You can be our last word.
Well, I hope I can see the video later.
Yes, absolutely. We will share that link.
Okay, but climate change is a big.
Oh, I think
we out of time.
Yeah, go try again.
Climate change is a big. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, we're getting a lot of feedback. Yeah, I think, Suzanne, maybe if you called in and have the microphone open on the phone, then I think that's causing the feedback. Maybe you can just type your comment in the chat, because I think I think that we're getting a bunch of feedback, unfortunately. But thank you to all the panelists. Thank you for contributing your videos and taking the time to be here today. Yes, we will share that link. I'll get that link into the chat here shortly for people who want to watch the video again or didn't get a chance to see it the first time.
Thank you all. Holly's in the building now.
Yes, thank you everybody for filling in while I was having technical problems. I am so excited to be here, and thank you for your patience. So thank you, Kristen, Suzanne, Susie, Allison, Yashash, Om, Najim, and Josiah. So now it's your turn, as all of you as a community, to talk. And we're going to have 7 breakout rooms for conversations. Breakout room 1 will keep open as a safe space, as we said at the beginning. Go to room 2 to talk about the Globe Observer app in education. Room 3 are for clouds and satellite matching. Room 4 is technology and troubleshooting, which is apparently the room I need to be in tonight. Room 5 is the future development of Globe Observer. We'd like to hear your ideas. Room 6 is volunteering in retirement. Room 7 is a space to meet fellow observers. And room 8 is for using Globe Observer in your community. To join the breakout rooms, there's a little box that you see I have the icon there on the top of the slide so you can see what it looks like. You can click that little breakout room box and a menu should pop up that will show you the list of the breakout rooms, and you can just select the one you would like to join. If you have any trouble joining, message one of the hosts in the chat or and tell us which room you'd like to join and we'll move you on over there. So thank you. We'll see you over in the breakout room space, and we will, let's spend about 15 minutes there. Just to get us a little bit back on schedule, and we'll come on back here in about 15 minutes, which puts us at about 8:15. All right, thanks everyone. A question is about how many people on the phone, how can people on the phone do breakout? You know, honestly, I was wondering that myself since I was on the phone for the first half of the meeting.
They should be able to be assigned if they want to verbalize it once we get some other people in rooms.
Yeah.
I believe we can do that. If you are able to move yourself into a breakout room, that would be great. It will take a while to get everybody assigned. So please try to move yourself first, and then if you can't make that work, we can move you.
We can help you.
Yeah, but give it a shot yourself first. I know technology has not been our friend tonight, but things will go much quicker if you can give that a shot. Looks like some people are figuring out.
A quick question. Are we going to have time to go into different rooms or nope? Okay.
Yes, you can join different rooms if you like, but we're only in the rooms for about 15 minutes. So however you choose.
No.
Up to yourself.
No worries. Thanks, Holly.
Of course. Move yourselves, go to the breakout room space, or you may have to click the more with the 3 dots. I know for me, the breakout room icon disappeared, and so I had to click on the more link, and the breakout room option did show up there. Yeah, the breakout room link disappeared for me as well, Suzanne. So go click on the more, the 3 little dots that say more. All right, and now I need to join my room because it looks like there's lots of people in it, and I need to go lead. I was so excited sharing the things I learned in the chat that I didn't realize it was time to get started again. So welcome back. As you know, we are funded by NASA. NASA is a science agency, and citizen science at NASA is expected to contribute meaningfully to science. You have done that, and our science leads are here to tell you how. You'll notice that they talk a lot about publications. The currency of science is the peer-reviewed publication. So you do science, or they do science, by reporting your research, having it reviewed by other scientists, and then publishing it in journals. So peer-reviewed publications are a sign that science is moving forward. So let's hear how.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Go C3. My name's Brian Campbell, and I'm the Tree Science Lead for the NASA Globe Observer. And I am based at the NASA Wallops Flight Facility in Wallops Island, Virginia in the United States. At NASA, we have a satellite called the Ice Cloud and Land Elevation Satellite 2, or ICESat-2. Even though its primary objective is to look at the melting ice in the polar regions on the planet, it has a laser altimeter on board so it can measure the height of objects on Earth, including trees. We love this satellite because it gives us this third dimension that we haven't seen from space before. So it provides us with this height data, and it's very important for us understanding our planet's tree height structure as well as biomass. One of our major goals with the tree height observations is to combine the NASA Globe Observer Trees Tool data with the space-based data from NASA. So we decided to publish a paper with this information where we were looking at Globe Observer data from 2 specific locations where we saw a lot of data coming in, Grand Mesa, Colorado, and Greenbelt, Maryland. We also were able to use data from students in New York about assessing the variability across these volunteers and the potential impact of user error on height measurements. Since release of the NASA Globe Observer Trees tool on 26 March 2019, we have had observations from over 100 countries, with over 52,000 tree height observations from Globe volunteers such as yourself. So, scientists can use your tree height data that you're taking with the NASA Globe Observer Trees tool as Globe volunteers. Here what you see, there's a lot going on in this picture. But what's great about this is showing you how we can do comparisons between the ICESat-2 data and the NASA Globe Observer data. I did a data comparison in Salisbury, Maryland, where ICESat-2 measured the tree canopy at 19.66 meters. I went outside and took an observation with the NASA Globe Observer Trees tool, and I got 18.93 meters. Very close. So this is something we want to do. We want to build up a data set for student and professional researchers to use. We have ground-based data from Globe, and we have space-based data from NASA. And when we combine these, we can get a tremendous data set for research.
Hello, everybody. My name is Marile Colon Robles. I'm the project scientist for NASA Globe Clouds, and we match every possible observation that you record using the Globe Observer app to satellite data. And here are all the different satellites that we match your cloud observations to. And with that data that we've collected from you, thank you so much, we just put out, this is our most recent research paper. It goes into looking at the differences and similarities between your ground observations to satellite data during some, not all, but some of those data challenges that we've done in the past. Number one is that your observations actually match really well with satellite data. So when we and the research team that put together this paper looked at total cloud cover all around the world and compared it to all those satellites that we match your observations to, the results are within 10%. That is amazing, okay? And so then when the team looked into differences when you report high clouds, mid-level clouds, and low-level clouds, that's when differences started popping up. But not just between you and the satellites, between the satellites themselves. So again, this is why we are so thankful for your observations and why it's so important to always keep getting observations. Satellites are great, but they're not perfect. So in this study, we deep dive into when do the certain satellites differ from each other and also from your ground reports. And some of the things that we found is because of the opacity or how thick those clouds are can create those discrepancies or differences. So those thin, high clouds particularly are hard for certain instruments on some of these satellites to detect. But our eyes, if we're able to detect them or see them in clear days when there's no low-level clouds, we can detect them really well. The second thing that we've noticed is that your observations are actually really, really good. So 10% difference, when there is a difference, it's not just between the ground observations and the satellites themselves differ between each other. So we go into that. But also your robustness. So meaning how many data points, how many of these observations do we need worldwide to have really good statistics? And we don't need that many. Of course, as more as we have per location, the better. But it just shows how good your observations are. Now, other things that we've done or we've found with your observations is that we are really close, about to reach our 1 million satellite match. And maybe as the time we see this video, we have reached the 1 million satellite matches. So that is huge. Again, the more data that we have, the better the statistics and the research that we can do. So thank you for that. It doesn't mean that we stop here. We continue. So keep continuing those observations throughout. And throughout this year, we've seen some really neat observations, including volcanic eruptions, over water observations in the polar regions, which are hugely unique and rare to get. And then observations, again, when it's cloudy and things are happening on the ground, like in this time in Australia, where a Habuba or dust storm was reported, but not detected by the satellites. So again, your observations always matter. And then what happens to your photographs? We launched this project, NASA Globe Cloud Days in 2021. It's on the Sooniverse online platform, and we are looking at what are the types of clouds and cloud cover that you can notice in your own photographs. We invite you into that, and we're using this data for machine learning purposes. So again, using your observations and research. So on behalf of the NASA Globe Clouds team, we are delighted to be reporting all these ways in which your observations are used in research. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Peter Nelson, and I'm the science lead for NASA's Globe Observer's Land Cover tool. We have now, together as a community, mapped 18,000 unique locations, which is something that hadn't really happened before, and not one single person can do on their own. And this has been done over 25,000 times. So we do have a lot of locations that are doing repeat observations, which is really, really incredible to see, because that's where we can do neat science like change over time and some other interesting pieces like that. And I want to highlight quickly a few of those projects and some of the results that have happened. But do take a look at this page, because the science behind what we're doing sometimes might not be obvious to you. And it's becoming really exciting to see dynamic features like ice, something that we can actually capture with these photos. And so a group of researchers and community members have come together to use Globe Observer's Land Cover tool to monitor something dynamic like ice that can actually change on a day-to-day, hour-by-hour basis like this. And to combine it together with the satellite imagery is really exciting. So look for some wonderful results from what they're doing. We've been able to actually publish peer-reviewed journal articles that, again, help us to be part of that larger science conversation. And so this is something that we look forward to doing more of, and we hope that people will not only take the data as it is, but do some really interesting science and build some methodology, new methodology using the data that we collect. Because the data can also inform and be used in research. And so not only have the methods been discussed out there in a peer-reviewed article fashion like this, but students have contributed to collecting and publishing data. And that all can help inform some of the other interesting things that are happening out there in science conversations, because land cover is interesting by itself, but it gets really much more interesting when you reach out to other communities, because land cover is foundational to mosquito habitat, for instance. So we've been working together to support many of the observations and the research involved around the mosquito habitat mapping program within Globe Observer and also other programs outside of the Globe program. We really want to highlight that starting shortly here, we are going to have this land cover challenge where we're going to focus on different land cover types and making sure that we get observations and examples of those from around the world. We have this wonderful opportunity with new land cover maps, new science that is happening out there, and doing visualizations and bringing this data together. So thank you so much for joining us in what we've been doing the last couple of years with the Globe Observer's Land Cover tool, and join us in our upcoming Land Cover Challenge.
Hi, I'm Rusty Lowe, reaching you from my own personal mosquito habitat in the beautiful Rocky Mountains near Boulder, Colorado. I'm the science lead for the Globe Observer Mosquito Habitat Mapper. You're contributing to research in a big way. I wanted to show you two papers that have come out in the last year. The first one is looking at the Globe Mosquito Habitat Mapper's citizen science data up to 2020. And the second one was a paper that just came out 2 days ago, where we are talking more about all the different ways in which this data is being used by scientists around the world. Most important thing, all of our papers that are coming out from Globe Observer are saying the authors are gratefully acknowledging all the contributions of you in this research. You can find these publications here, download them and read them if you like. You know that mosquitoes are important. And one of the reasons they're important is not just disease, but they're also telling us about climate change. Mosquito seasons are starting earlier, ending later. Hitchhiking species are coming to new regions, and the ranges are expanding as climate warms. And the monitoring that you're doing on the ground with mosquitoes are helping us to better understand these 3 ways that our mosquito landscape is changing. The map is now being used by community entomologists in Ethiopia to identify locations of a dangerous recent invasive mosquito vector. This little guy is called Anopheles stephensii. He is a very, actually it's a she, because the she's the biters, right? She is a very dangerous mosquito because she also breeds in containers. That completely changes the landscape and the demographic of where and when we're finding mosquitoes. So we have a big team now. It is a team looking at AI. They are using your photographs in order to identify this dangerous species in Africa. And I want to let you know that this is the most exciting thing I think that's happened, because you never know when your data is going to be useful. So in 2020, one of you citizen scientists reported this mosquito in Madagascar in a tire. Now, most malaria mosquitoes are found in standing water, in ditches, and in water bodies, and in wetlands, but not in tires. So we found that the habitat, we found that mosquito, and based on the AI that we have been working on at the University of South Florida, it looks like this might be the first appearance of this particular mosquito in this area. So your data is being used for the development of AI. Citizen scientists are producing a lot of data that can be used in this way. And when you take these 9 photos, that helps us to do this AI research. So most people just do 1 photo, but go ahead, move your mosquito around, give us different angles. Be sure to give us information about the head, the thorax, and the abdomen, and include all the hairs in your observations. Finishing up with some beautiful pictures submitted by a citizen scientist of some eggs, of a pupa, and of an adult. And we look forward to seeing your observations and your photos in the database. Thank you for all you've done. Thank you for all the data. Thank you for being part of really important research about changes that are happening on our planet and how those changes are impacting global health.
Thank you, Brian, Marile, Peter, and Rusty. I am always inspired when you show me how observations from around the world come together to advance science for good. Our volunteers had several questions for you, so I hope you're all ready for it. Let's go to the first one. So this is one for Marile and team. Why is solar noon local time the time volunteers should collect cloud observations? Is it better to collect a cloud observation at noon or during a satellite overpass?
Thanks, Holly. I'm actually going to take that one. Hi, everyone. I'm
Great.
Jessica Taylor. I am the principal investigator for Globe Clouds, and I was a Globe student who was also taught to make cloud observations at local solar noon. And that's part of the history of the program, because if you think about Globe, an international program, and how can we compare data that I collect in Virginia to maybe data collected in Nigeria, one of the ways that we can try to control for what's happening throughout the day is to make observations at local solar noon. So the highest point or the time of day where the sun is the highest. And that is historically how we have compared globe data from one location to the next. So cloud matching with satellite data only came to the Globe program in 2017. And so that's when we added this amazing capability to also match to satellites. So the answer is you should make observations when a satellite is overhead because that's super helpful, but it also is really helpful to make observations at local solar noon. So I would say when either of these things fit into your schedule, then it is very useful. And for those of you who've been following on social media, we are really, really close to 1 million satellite matches. We are just around 1,000 shy, so make sure you keep those coming.
Thank you, Jessica. So our next question is one for, I think I'm going to ask Kristen to answer this one. The question was, I would like to use Globe Observer data. How can I tell how precise the observation locations are? And I think, Heather, you may have to stop sharing the screen for a moment so Kristen can show how you see that in the data.
So the place to find that in the data is by using the API, the application programming interface that was developed by our wonderful data and information systems team. So this is one, probably maybe the least familiar of the data access tools. I think the viz.globe.gov, the visualization system, or the advanced data access tool are both probably more familiar to most users. Sorry, this is not quite the right size. Let's zoom that in a little bit. But so this is going to be where you're going to find that information. And and you can see a lot of options here. I think the most important thing, and I may not go through a full demo, I'll put this link in the chat, but if you can get the data by date, by organization, country, by globe teams, by latitude and longitude, by the country it was measured in, all sorts of different ways to get the data. But the nice thing about getting it from here is it will have a column for the location accuracy. So this is really the place to get that type of data. And if there are questions about how to do that, you can reach out on the Observer website or globehelp@ucard.edu. I think could also direct you to resources. But it is through the API that you can get that information about how accurate the location information is.
And one quick clarifying point, that information is available for land cover, for mosquito habitat, and for trees. We do not collect it for clouds just because it wasn't a science requirement. So it's not something we have for clouds at the moment. But we do provide it for the others because they're much more sensitive to location accuracy in order to apply them to scientific applications. So.
Yeah,
Thank
and I
you,
guess
Kristen.
the other thing to add to that is we've been collecting it for the data for those tools, except for land cover, mosquito habitat mapper, and trees since the beginning of those tools in the app. But it's only recently been revealed in the database, so it's only recently been accessible through that API. So if you'd pulled data even 3 or 4 months ago, you wouldn't have been able to get that. If you pull it again now, it will have a new column that has the location accuracy. So there is still some more information. And actually, that's a good reminder that it will be part of the updated data user guide coming soon. But also, I will make sure that some information about that is added on the Globe Observer Get Data page, as well as it will be in the data user guide. So that is a relatively new thing that you've been able to access the data, even though we have been collecting it.
Thank you, Kristen. All right, question 3. Here is another question for our cloud team. Do satellites record temperature, humidity, precipitation, UV index, wind velocity, and direction? I think they were asking about any other kind of weather parameters. When we get the Cloud Match emails, could we get more weather details recorded by the satellite?
Excellent question. So this is Marile from the Clouds team. There is, depending on the instrument aboard the satellite, there is some extra information that we could pull for the satellite matches. The satellite matches are really focused on what really compares to what you're reporting when you're making a cloud observation. Now, the team is looking into expanding the satellites, and this might also open the opportunity of the different venues or observations that we can match. But right now, there is some extra data that certain instruments aboard satellites. So remember, if the satellite is a car, the instruments are the people in the car. Some satellites have more than one instrument. Other satellites just have one or two main instruments and a camera. So this is an interesting question. And the team is looking into it and expanding to other satellite data as well.
Excellent, thank you. All right, next question. I am going to give this one to Rusty. How do you clean the globe?
Wow, what a great question. And can I share my screen? Great. I'm just going to show you one thing here. So one way that you can clean the globe is by getting rid of mosquito habitats. And one thing that excites me about the Mosquito Habitat Mapper tool is not only are we collecting data about where mosquitoes are found, when they are found, what kind of mosquitoes we find, but also at the very end of the protocol, we also have a question that says, have you been able to eliminate that site, that place where mosquitoes are breeding? And in the vast majority of cases, the mosquito habitats that we are interacting with are container mosquitoes, what we call floodwater mosquitoes. And so these mosquito containers are usually trash. And there's trash all over the world collecting water whenever it rains, and then people aren't paying attention to it. And then the mom mosquitoes fly by and say, "Oh, this is a great place to raise my young," and she'll deposit her eggs there. Well, when people are using the app, we ask people to report if they're able to dump out the water. And, if it's a pond or it's a lake, you can't dump out the water. So that's why we don't get 100%. But look how high these values are. Like, for instance, in Africa and North America, we're way over 50%, up to 70% of people are saying, yes, I dumped out the water. So every one of those measurements represents someone who is actually cleaning up our environment. So I just want to take the question in that direction because that's most appropriate to the work that we do here. And it is a little bit larger question, but I think that's how I can answer it using Globe Observer. Thank you so much, Holly.
Of course. Would anybody else, any of our other science leads, like to comment on that one at all?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, we can, essentially also clean the globe with trees. We're talking about, we can plant trees, yes, because, by understanding the tree height, we can, work with scientists to figure out how much carbon dioxide these trees are pulling out of the atmosphere, because trees are indicators of climate change. You saw that in the quiz earlier, in the event. But yeah, so, a combination of taking those tree heights help us understand the biomass of an area, how much carbon is being pulled in and basically, stored by these trees. And then, essentially we can figure other things out, not so good things. We see these fires happening in Sequoia National Park now. So a lot of that carbon that some of those trees that are burning is being re-released into the atmosphere. But if we know those tree heights, we know those, how much carbon is being pulled in by these trees from the atmosphere. And, planting more of these trees just, allows to pull more carbon dioxide out.
Excellent, thank you. Pause to see if anybody else had a response. All right, another very specific cloud question. I sometimes use a Nikon Z7 camera to take cloud photos. The angle of view is set to, or the view angle is set to 28 millimeters wide. Is there a preferred angle of view for cloud photos?
This is an excellent question. I wish I knew more about cameras. My husband is the one that's a camera buff. The angle of view for clouds or sky, think of it as taking a measurement of the sky and the clouds within the sky view. So the wider the view that you can get, the better. Particularly if you live in a location where you can have dust storms, volcanic eruptions. We've received photographs of them, other events like that. A nice wide view, including the horizon, would be really exciting to get. That is one of the requests for people that live near where you get dust storms, is to really see the horizon and the sky. So the wide angle, or the angle of view where you can get quite an amount of sky, would help us a lot, particularly as we're using the photographs on NASA Globe Cloud Gaze to then use it in machine learning techniques. So great question. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And thank you to everybody who submitted questions ahead of time. We appreciate that we had those questions to think about them and make sure that we had a thorough response to them. Thank you for the questions that you've put in the chat. If you have additional questions, please feel free to add them to the chat, and we will follow up later to make sure that we address as much as we can. All right. So as Madeleine told you, we are coming so close to making our millionth satellite match. We are just over 1,000 matches away. So we invite you to go out, take some more cloud observations, and help us reach our goal by the end of the week. Some other ways that you can participate is share with us on social media with the hashtag Globe1M. And tell us what clouds mean to you, why you love clouds. Maybe share some of your favorite cloud photos. And then test your globe cloud knowledge by taking a quiz. And you know what, Denise? I just realized that I overlooked your contrails question. I did see that, and I am sorry. I forgot that. We will make sure that we follow up with you directly about that. Madeleine, please help me remember so that we don't overlook it. I apologize. But please help us make that million satellite matches, because we are just under 1,000, or just over 1,000 away. All right. NASA Globe Land Cover Challenge started today. We are starting a new challenge. This challenge celebrates the Landsat program's 50th anniversary. The Landsat program is the Landsat program has been in orbit. There's been a satellite in orbit continuously since 1972. And so we are celebrating its 50th anniversary by collecting land cover observations that can complement the observations that Landsat gathers from space. So to participate, we just ask you to go out, take observations or photos, use the Globe Observer to take photos of the land. You take 25 unique observations of land cover. We will provide to you a Landsat image, kind of like these beautiful images you see here, that match one of your observation sites. 50 observations or more, and we have coordinated with the Landsat team to send you some commemorative material. So we'll mail you some print material about Landsat. If you'd like to know more, follow us on social media. We'll be posting regular updates once a week, or you can participate in Camp Landsat. So if you've updated your Globe Observer app in the last couple of days, or if you've opened your app in the last couple of days, you would have seen an update. This is an exciting update that gives you a name in the program. This update applies to everybody who is using a citizen science account in Globe Observer. So if you are using a Globe Teacher account, you will not see this screen. You will see something different. So this is for a citizen science account. But if you're using a citizen science account, open your app, click on the little gear icon, and you'll get to the settings screen. On that settings screen, on the top of the screen, you'll get your user ID and then a screen name. Your screen name will initially be a series of letters and numbers that are randomly assigned to you, but you can click the edit button to change that name to something that is unique to you. When you go to change that name, you'll see two drop-down lists. So you can select from those two lists a unique combination, and then a number will be appended to that to make it unique to you. So I'm Mountain Wanderer 2. If you want to go look for me in the Globe database, that is unique to me. Go ahead and go to the next screen. Thank you. You can also change your name on the Globe website. So you can log into, this is the Observer website. You can do this on the Globe website as well, but you log into Observer. When you first open the website, you'll see a sign-in option on the upper right corner. Click there. Use the email and password that you normally use to log into Globe Observer. And then a little person icon will show up there. You can click on that and then click account settings. So when you kind of hover over that, you get that account settings. Click on account settings. This is the page you get. You use the blue, you click on that blue change link over the screen name, and you again get those drop down things options just like you did on the app, and you can select the terms, the same terms, and it will assign that name to you, and it will be the same, in the app as it is on the website. So this is exciting. We've been working toward this for a long time. It allows you to maintain your privacy. We understand that your location data is, when you are taking observations near your home, your location is in the system, and so you are your location is still kept private and your name is kept private, but you have a name in the system that is unique to you, but you still have privacy. So this is an exciting advancement, and I look forward to getting to know all of you by your screen names moving forward. All right. Last, I have so enjoyed this evening, or today, for some of you it's not evening. I would love to continue this conversation, particularly since much of it had to be cut short because of some of the technology issues we've experienced. So if you were interested in continuing this conversation, we're talking about starting a volunteer forum where we can continue to get some feedback from you and to get your ideas. So if you're interested in participating in such a forum, please contact us. Use the web form here. We'll put it in the chat as well. Here you go. It's in the chat. You fill out that form and it sends an email directly to me, to Kristen, and to other members of the Globe Observer team, and we'll use that to reach back out to you. Again, I apologize to those whose questions we didn't get to tonight. We'll make sure that we follow up with you. We did get a lot of emails in that period, so I apologize for overlooking some of them. But we'll make sure that we answer all of the questions that we got. We also recorded the session this evening. We'll to know how we did. We know we had some technology issues, but we'd like to get your feedback on go differently if we do this again. So please give us your feedback by filling out this short survey. We'll leave this on the screen for a moment or two. We'll put that URL, and the URL is already in the chat, so you can go ahead and click on it from the chat. And then while you're filling that out, we have a short movie that you can watch highlighting some of the observations that you have contributed to the program. So thank you very much for attending this evening.
And just to explain this, so this is people who had registered for this event and shared their user ID with us as of early yesterday. I didn't get everybody who registered since then, but I tried to pull observations from as many people who were going to be here or who might be here tonight as I could.
Thank you, everyone. I'm always so inspired seeing your observations. Thank you so much for participating in Globe Observer and in our event today. We will have to do this again. Thank you.
Yeah, and Nina had a question there about that, yeah, this is the first one. So we have not, this is the first time we've tried this in quite this way. So we will have to decide what the right frequency is. So if there's interest in more, I think we're definitely up for hopefully some with fewer technical issues. But
yes.
Please fill out that feedback survey to tell us that you liked it. So if you want more events, fill out the survey.
Tell us how often
So
you're interested
on record.
in something like this.
No, Nina, you are not late to the party. You are right on time. This is our first go at this.
So that concludes our event. I'm willing to stay online for a little while if you have more questions. But otherwise, thank you so much for attending. I hope you had a good time. I know for many of you, it's very, very late at night or very, very early in the morning. But we appreciate you attending. Thank you.
Oh, and I meant to grab the links for the videos. Check on the website, the GoC3 website. I'll put them on the link on the GoC3 page tomorrow. I meant to grab those YouTube links and I forgot. And now I think most people have left, but we can share them with everybody.
Hasta luego. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. We'll post everything on the GoC3 site, so we'll have the recordings there.